What's up, Brad? How you doing, man?
Not much, man. How's it going?
Cruising around with the top down. Can't complain. Where's Bert?
So it's funny you should ask. A few days ago, he went to some weird ass dance thing out there in downtown area, and they invited him to come back tonight for some kind of special thing they needed to witness for. I don't know much about it, but he had a really good time. He said the dance went really well, and they were like, "Hey, man, since you enjoyed it, let's have you come back for the encore, essentially." So I think he's doing that. I don't know. You ever heard anything about anything like that?
Not at all. But being Bert doesn't surprise me.
Me neither. Anyway, hope he's having a good time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. I'm sure.
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Reel Hunting, where we hunt for the good reels so you don't have to. We're back with a Beers with the Bros episode. Obviously, Bert is not here with us. It's your boy, Brad. You know Chris from the previous Beers with the Bros episodes. He's right over here, and he's having a good time. Bert could not make it tonight, but he is here in spirit, right above me, right over here somewhere. So I think that's where he's at. He's having a good time. He's watching in. He's making sure everybody's doing very well tonight.
He's here in spirit.
Yes, he's here in spirit. And, well, honestly, it's just the topic that he wasn't as interested in. And I know he was occupied with something else as well. So we figured we would take this opportunity for Chris and I to discuss the Suspiria remake from 2018, directed by Luca. Can you pronounce his last name? That's a trivia question for you.
Guagino? I don't know.
Guagino is good enough for me. That will work. So obviously it's a flick that came out. It's a remake of the 77 classic. It stars Dakota Johnson. Watched it recently here for the first time. I know Chris has been asking me to watch this bad boy for freaking months now. Honestly, since it came out.
That we've been on trying to watch this now.
So I hope you guys have your beverages ready to rock. We're going to hang out with the bros now. We got Chris, we got Brad, and we got Bert.
The spirit.
So what do you think about the movie there? Overall, just overall intro to your feelings on this flick.
Man, I like it a lot, really. I kind of, when I very first watched it, kind of went in thinking it was going to be, I didn't have high expectations, so I liked it quite a bit when it came out. I thought it was kind of creepy and but in a different kind of way, and I like the way that it kind of unfolds. It does take a little while, I feel like, to get going, but
yeah, it does, and that's what's interesting. I thought this was going to be an incredibly boring movie, honestly, just because we'll put all the eggs in the basket here. I have not seen the original 77 classic. Have you seen the original?
It's been years and years.
Yeah.
I did watch it a long time ago, but it's been too long to really have an opinion of it now.
Yeah, so I didn't know much about it. I knew it was about some dancers in a witch cove, and I knew that. I did know that. But based on so after watching the movie, I did a little bit of research for the show tonight, and it made me really want to go back and watch the original one because apparently they're very different.
Yeah.
Very different kind of stories, different endings, different characters per se. Before we get too far, obviously, guys and gals, we're going to have spoilers. We're going to talk a lot of spoilers about the movie. Not so much. Well, there could be an occasional spoiler based on what I've read based on the original movie, but we're definitely going to be talking spoilers about that remake. So let's get into it. So this flick, 2018. Again, I haven't seen the original one. So went into this kind of blind, had no idea what to expect. Okay. And I saw, obviously, very early on, it's broken up into several acts, six acts and an epilogue. Okay. So I figured we could just go through this beast, like act at a time. Now, first off, did you know when this thing obviously was kind of, it was rumored, I guess the idea started circulating way back in 2008. In that ballpark for this movie to come out. And at that time, they had another David Gordon Green was actually...
he was going to direct it.
Yeah, he was going to direct it. I think Natalie Portman was rumored to play the lead at that point, and Judi Dench was a rumor to take the Mrs. Blanc role.
I didn't know that. That would have been a different show.
That would have been very interesting to say the least. It's Blanc. Blanc. It's Blanc?
Blanc, yeah.
Yeah, Blanc. So that was cool. And on to Blanc, I guess Tilda Swinton, she played 3 different roles in this movie.
Yeah.
She played freaking...
I wanted to ask you, that's one of the reasons I wanted to always wanted to watch it with you, because I wanted to see if you would know or not. Like, damn, this old man looks familiar, you know?
Well, I know, the old man, she obviously, so if you guys don't know, if you haven't looked into it, she plays obviously Blanc, the kind of mother figure there for Dakota Johnson. She plays Dr. Klemper, Klemper, and then she plays Markos there at the end. Old like looking like she's coming from The Shining there, out of the shower.
Yeah,
and the wife, she kept saying that it looked like freaking Elton John, dude. Every time I showed the pictures, he's wearing the shades.
Yeah,
like Elton John, dude. But plays them, plays all 3 of those characters. Okay. But as far as the old man goes, like I thought the whole movie, I'm like, something's kind of weird about this guy. My wife kept saying that it looks like freaking Bad Grandpa from Johnny Knoxville, and the voice was just weird too. I was like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. Like the character I liked.
The voice is the weirdest part for me. I was always just like, what's the deal with this guy? Why can I barely understand him?
Yeah, it was so weird, dude. And I liked it. Like, he was a good character, I thought. I just, when I found that out after, I didn't find that out until I was done with the movie. I was like, okay, what's up with this old man? I went back and looked, and I'm like, why? Like, why do that? Like, I just don't get it.
I don't know. That's what I couldn't figure. I was like, why are they having trouble casting this part? Until the Swin was just like, fuck it, I'll do it.
Literally any dude. You could get Max von Sydow in there, dude. Sado. And
I know.
Anything would have been fine, but they had to go this route, I guess, and slap some ridiculous looking makeup on. And it looks like freaking the same kind of makeup from The Exorcist back when Max Vaughn was there, and he was young back then.
It's a little unnerving.
I don't get that creative decision at all. I read that it was basically they had a discussion beforehand. The director Luca and Tilda, they were talking about. They're like, oh, since we have an all female cast, we might as well have the biggest male protagonist be a female as well. Which I don't know that. Why it doesn't help the story. It doesn't serve the narrative. It's just there. It's just there for the sake of being there, and it kind of. For me, that was a decision. I don't know. What do you think about that decision there?
About her playing that part?
Yeah, it was weird.
I thought that it was weird, and I think when I watched it initially, I can't remember. I think maybe I already knew that she was playing that role. So whenever I watched it, I was the whole time, I was like, I know that it's kind of weird, but I always wanted to see what someone else's perspective would be because I knew that it was Tilda in there. So the whole time I was like, "What's kind of weird?" But I wondered what it would be like for somebody to see this, and be like, "God damn it, that character is just so off," It's a weird creative decision. I guess I understand it a little bit more with it being the female cast driven, but I don't.
Yeah, that's what they're going for. But the whole time, it kind of takes you out of the movie. Because we're both watching it. We're like, okay, what's up with this guy? Like, this is obviously, we thought it was a younger male that they just put makeup on to make him look really old.
Yeah.
But it was like, I just don't get it. They could have gotten any old guy in there. It would have helped the story out, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. To me, it was a little distracting, but either way.
I agree with that. I thought that Tilda Swinton did a good job, though.
Yeah. She did. She did. Again, I like the character of Dr. Klember. I like the character. He was a very likable guy, and I was pulling for him. Like I don't know, but either way, he was a good character. So we'll get into to Act One here. Okay, so it's just kind of an intro act. It starts off. First off, I love the setting. Obviously, it goes back to when the original movie was 1977, but they kind of put in a little bit more about being in a divided Berlin. And you got the the Berlin walls right there in the background through most of the movie, and I mean it's really cool. You kind of just soaking that in there in Act One, and right off the bat you can tell. I mean, the colors they've chosen here, it's very mute, it's very gray, it's very cold, it's very it's dark, which I really love that about this movie is the color tone that they chose to go with. And you get in this first act, you get a lot of you get a sense of the camera direction they're going with. You get the crazy zooms and the all that kind of stuff, which I really liked. I love the cinematography. And you just kind of get so you get Patricia coming in to Dr. Cabrera's office, saying, "Oh yeah, I escaped. All this. They took my vision, they took my urine, they took my hair, and all this stuff." And like, it's kind of a cool way to set up the Coven, I think, the dance studio. A good way of kind of setting the tone, kind of introduction, rather. And obviously there at the beginning, Doctor is not really buying what she's telling her. In fact, so much so that like, I don't know, I kind of liked it. I liked the way it started off with that scene, Patricia coming in. Again, you get the sense of the setting with the Berlin stuff going on. She's running through like a protest in the street, I think. I'm trying to get to his office. It was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. That's it, again, and you kind of get the introduction to Dakota Johnson's character as well, Susie, kind of walking in. But it's a nice little act. It's more of an introduction than anything. Anything there stand out to you? I know that.
Yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz has a line in there where she says, "They're gonna eat my cunt on a plate."
She does, yeah.
And yeah, I was gonna get that tattooed across my back, but just trying to keep living my life instead. But yeah, that's the only thing I was gonna add. I always love that line.
Good line, yeah, and it was a good introduction to her character, and it just kind of sets the eeriness up of the Coven. And then again, it's a very quick thing. It's one of the shorter acts, and then I like the way they set it up with the acts. Like it's like, okay, 6 acts and an epilogue, divided Berlin. Okay, cool. And the titles they put in there are really old school, really retro, and I really like the feel of that.
Yeah.
Then we jump in, and we get, obviously we get the introduction to Dakota Johnson's Susie, where you find out she's an American coming over here. She's got and then she's got, she's down in the sub. She gets to the dance studio. Basic introduction, nothing crazy. Then it moves on to Act 2, which is batshit crazy. This is where things get freaking wild, okay? Because you get
sharp left turn.
It takes a sharp left turn, okay? It's if you didn't know at this point in the movie that this is about witches, you find out real quick that some weird shit's going on. So this is where you get the scene there where Susie is just getting kind of broken in here. She's sitting on the floor, kind of just helping with the behind the scenes stuff. Olga freaks out. She runs out, and then Susie's like, "Oh, I can dance. I'll do the lead or whatever. I know the dance. I know what you're talking about." Like she's been studying or whatever. And then you get I think the best scene in the movie, and I'm sure most people do feel the same way about that, is where Susie's dancing, and then Olga's getting fucked up in the other room near. So like this scene's great. I mean, what tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Oh, I love it, dude. I thought this was that scene that I had shown you this. Remember we watched this like a while back.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You gotta see this, man. This is crazy. I can't hold this in." But I thought it was really interesting the way they intercut between her doing the dance choreography and how it's correlating to Olga being absolutely brutally destroyed, and also the effects, the CGI and the in-camera effects that they did right there, I thought were pretty badass with her jaw breaking. And
from what I learned behind the scenes, there were no CGI effects in that, so, at least according to the director. It was all prosthetics and stuff they used. I don't know. that's kind of hard to believe, but I saw in the behind the scenes thing they did. It was all practical effects, which is why it looks so creepy. I think they used a green screen with one of her arms, but outside of that, it was all freaking. They had a contortionist in there, doing some weird stuff and some practical effects with the face.
Yeah, weird stuff around.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I watched the little behind the scenes thing after, and I was like, this is really impressive. Yeah, and that's why that is so unnerving and stuff, is because of how weird it looks. Freaking. I mean, it was great, man. The effects they pulled off. It was. I mean, her jaw was like dislocated. There were like teeth everywhere. Like it was crazy. I don't know. Like maybe once the hooks come in and they drag her out of there.
Yeah, they just show up at the end of it, and they're just like, God damn it! Look at this hunk of meat. We got to get out of here. Also, right before that, how crazy was the? She has like gelatin tears.
Yeah, dude. I don't.
Starts crying and it's like coagulating on her face, and she's like, "What the fuck?" I thought that was
cool. I really liked it because you got Olga. She's like running down the stairs, and you got the other witches there, and they're like, you can see the dang Blanc coming in and like touching her joints and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you got this dance. Let me just give you a little rub down right here," and then she goes down to the ankles, and then meanwhile, Olga. Yeah, Olga. Yeah, she's running around she's trying to get out of there. She's like, "Let me get a taxi, man. Let me get a damn taxi." She looks out, no taxi, and then she gets freaking sucked into the room, which was a very cool aesthetic there with all the mirrors, the way they were chopped up and stuff.
Yeah,
very cool room. Really like that. And she's just
the trap door. Whenever the witches, coolest way to open a trap door. Usually you have to touch something, and the chick just do this one little move, and it like fucking pops open.
Yeah, it was dope. Yeah, it was. I love the way. Yeah, that whole room setup is cool, and that whole scene was great. More into this is the into this act. You kind of just get Doctor Klimper. He's kind of digging a little bit deeper. He's kind of getting his investigation starter. He's kind of feeling that something's a little off. He's reading the book. It kind of shows him that things are going. The diary left by Patricia. Yeah, it was cool. That's pretty much most that happened. He's kind of digging into the coven at that point. And then there's that weird scene there where Blanc is like, "Hey, how did that feel up there while you're dancing?" She's like, "Well, it felt a little bit like what I would imagine fucking would feel like." And she's like a man? No, like animals. I was like, what the? I don't know.
There is a lot of weird conversations that go on where they say shit, and you're like, what? The conversation just keeps on going. And both of them are just like, I know exactly what you mean. It's like not one of you is going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It was weird, dude.
She starts having those fucking nightmares too, man.
The nightmares were really well done, I think.
Yeah, the cinematography of those couple of shots they put in there are fucking haunting.
Yeah, I think those nightmare scenes were so well done. It really felt like a dream, like you would have like just random stuff popping in, like the worms and the mask, and like there's a naked girl sitting somewhere at some point, and the way it reminds me of The Ring. Where you get those weird ass videos of like, right. I thought that was really cool. But that's the highlights of Act 2. We'll move to Act 3. Act 3 is where we get the detectives show up to investigate after Doctor tells them something's going on, and it's a weird scene where Susie walks in there, and they got the detective. He's obviously in a trance. He's naked, dude, and they're playing with his wiener with a hook.
I forgot about this scene. Yes, but she just like walks in and they're both like just in a daze, standing there completely naked, and they're just like, "Oh, check these dicks out, dude!" Flipping them around with the hook.
It was so weird.
Do that kind of stuff on Saturday nights too, but I like usually watch it before.
It was like I don't know what's going on with these guys. Like I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
what's going on with my camera?
Yeah, if you guys haven't noticed, we're having slight technical difficulties with the camera, but we'll work through it. No problems. You get the sacrifice for let's see, hold on. No, you get the Markos. Oh, this is where you get the introduction to what you think at the time is Markos. While Susie's dancing, you see the hand underneath kind of hitting the, and at the time they kind of set it up to make you think that's Markos down there. And then they're like, okay, we got to have and basically the only other thing that kind of gets set up here in this act, from what I remember, is they're like, okay, we're going to need a witness for this ritual. Let's go with the doctor. It's pretty much the conversation they had. Nothing crazy here that I remember aside from the detective showing up to investigate. Obviously, they don't find anything because they were tranced out of their mind, getting their wieners played with hooks. So
they get back in the car like, I know we didn't see anything in there, but do you feel like maybe you just got your wiener hooked?
Later in the movie, the doctor shows
I did.
Later in the movie, the doctor shows up at the police department, and they had the fatter officer they were playing with. He's like scratching his junk. I don't know if that, I imagine that has something to do with the hook that they were.
I don't remember that part. Right.
It's a very subtle thing. Very subtle. They're like standing in the stairwell, and he like reaches for it, and he's like giving a little scratchy, but it was interesting. So Act 4 happens after that, and you get this is kind of where the doctor, his investigation is starting to lead somewhere. You can tell that he's on their heels at this point. You get this is the part of the movie where Susie's trying to learn how to jump, and they have the other girl come in to jump, and she's jumping, and then they're like, okay. You kind of feel like you get the sense that they're transferring her jump powers over to Susie at this point. She has a little seizure. And then we figure out there was another one of the other witches, like freaking they're at dinner having a good time, and she just freaking stabs her throat with a knife, and this is kind of random. You know what I'm talking about? You remember that?
A little like the timid girl, right? Like the short glasses. Yeah, doesn't she just like, she just picks up a knife. She's like, damn, this is good steak, right? What do you think, Madeline? And she's just like, damn,
it's cool.
Bad.
It was neat because you could tell earlier in the movie that she wasn't really feeling what these other witches were doing. Like during the whole Olga scene where she was dying and getting all jacked up, like she was crying and stuff in the other room. Like she was tearing up and stuff, and she wasn't feeling it. So at this point, like maybe she's not with the ways of the coven at this point. And she decides that she doesn't want to be part. I don't know. Do you know any reasoning behind? It wasn't really explained why she freaking.
Yeah, I mean, she was always kind of timid, and when everyone else is doing all their witchy shit, she's always. I feel like, if memory serves, there's a couple of scenes where there's like some evil shit going on, and the camera kind of pans to her, and she's just like sitting there, like watching, and I think she's just over it. I mean, either that, or it could have been that the steak was really bad.
Damn it! I can't eat steak without the A1 sauce.
There's been a couple of times I've been so drunk at a steakhouse, and I've been tempted.
Well, when the rolls come out hard, what can you expect?
But they, I thought that scene was kind of random.
It was very random, never really explained upon.
Yeah, and it doesn't really have any implications. I mean, from a narrative standpoint, it doesn't really. I don't think, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. My hair just got crazy. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. But we get. It was cool. I mean, it was good effects. I think that was one of the parts. One of the problems I have later in the movie, both of us, my wife and I. The CGI blood there towards the end, where it's a little bit everything. They've done very well with practical effects the whole movie, and then they just squirt CGI everywhere. But this shot with the blood was done well. I saw in the behind the scenes stuff where they did practical blood, and it looked cool. It was just squirting out. It was neat, and I liked. So we haven't really talked about Sarah yet, which was Susie's kind of buddy there coming in, and. Yeah, Mia Goth. It was Mia Goth. She was good. I thought she was fine. Earlier in the movie, you kind of had some cool scenes with her and Susie where they were in the same room and stuff, and she was introduced. She's been a good character. One of the only other dancers that we've kind of been familiarized with Susie, and a decent character overall. And this act 4, this is where she finds the room. I believe it's where she finds the room with the hook in it, and she grabs the hook. And then she goes out to she finds like the secret room, and then she gets the hook earlier that they used to freaking with Olga, and then she talks to the doctor, and she's like, I think there's some weird shit going on back at the coven or the dance studio.
She goes to the secret room and she finds Chloe Moretz down there, and she's like,
I think she finds Patricia later in the movie. I think that's in the Act 5 where they get into the dance, the performance. But in this one, she just finds the hook. She takes the hook. She finds the hook. She opens another door that goes to the room where the girl just stabbed her throat. You don't see what's going on in there, but you can hear, I don't know why she did this. And all this it's kind of chaos ensuing in the kitchen area there. Yeah, and then she closes the door back, and then she bounces with the hook. She's like, I'm grabbing this. She takes it to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh yeah, you don't want them to know that you have this. And then he takes it, and then she goes back to the dance studio there at that point.
I'm remembering now. I knew that she, at some point or another, she finds Chloe Moretz. She's like all old.
Yeah, she does here in a minute. She does here in a minute. This is just kind of where she's kind of starting to feel something's off. I think she confronts Susie about it. She's like, are you in cahoots with Blanc here? What's going on? And then Susie's like, no, there's nothing going on. It's all good. Everything's fine and dandy. There's nothing going on behind the scenes. She's just helping me out. It's all normal. And then she's like, oh yeah, it's because you haven't received the bill yet. You're getting all this, and they're gonna want something in return. But yeah, that's it. I think that it kind of ends with him talking to her talking to the doctor, and then it moves on to act number 5. And act 5 is where we get the performance, and stuff kind of gets a little weirder and weirder. And this is act 5. This is right after. This is where they got the dresses on that we have in the background. You can't really see because of us. I
do like those the strap dresses, whatever they're called.
Yeah, is that a callback to the original, or is that just this one?
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it seems like I do remember that they wore like some weird, freaky kind of dresses.
Yeah, I thought so too. Because whenever I saw the trailer for this one, I was like, yeah, these look familiar, but I don't know if they were as revealing as they were now, just because, I don't know. I just don't know if they would have done that.
In 77.
Yeah. But it was very artistic. It was very interesting the way and earlier in the movie, it was cool. You could see them making the dresses, and they had a scene going on back behind the scene. They had the woman making these dresses, which was kind of cool.
I couldn't find anything on there. You can buy those though.
Well, let me get one, dude. Is it Amazon?
Actually, I'd like to get Bert one.
Let's cancel this whole show and come back with just those on.
Let's redo the whole thing.
No, I like it. It was a cool.
We redid it and gave one to Brett, and then we all come back on the show, and he hasn't seen it yet though. So he just comes in and he's like, "Gosh, somebody, what have y'all got me wearing?"
Yeah. Well, the good news is Brett is having a good time right up here. Old Bert, he has been smiling the whole time. He has not changed. He's having a good time. That means we are doing very well. So I think we're in good shape right now, buddy. We're doing very well. So that we get the performance in Act 5. Okay, great performance. They have the paint. She puts the paint on. Weird makeup stuff. Now, my wife pointed out that her eyes look different in this scene. Like maybe this is the point where she gets possessed by Suspiria, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
There at the end, I don't know. I do agree her eyes do look different at this point. But I think there's some scenes after this where they don't. So I don't know. It might have just been the makeup. Who knows? I don't know. But it was a cool little dance sequence. And this is where, but while this dance is going on, Sarah's downstairs finding Patricia, and Patricia's all old and stuff. And then there's another legless person chasing, which I guess, I mean, it could be Olga, I think, maybe.
Can you remind me, why doesn't Sarah dance?
What's that?
Why doesn't Sarah dance?
Well, because she's down there. She gets dressed. She gets her makeup on. And well, she wasn't in the dressing room, but everybody's like, where's Sarah at? She's like, oh, well, she came and did her makeup earlier. She'll be here in time.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, because they keep looking for her. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it cuts to her down there in the basement looking around, prowling around some more. She's using this time to look because everybody's obviously doing the dance, the performance. And she's down there and she finds Patricia. She's like, oh, everybody's tied up there. I'll get you out of here. And then she's like, no, I can't leave or whatever. Well, she wants to. She's trying to, but she can't get. She's old. She's all deformed and stuff. And she's walking out. Her leg gets broken, and then she gets sucked into the dance. They fix her leg up, and she goes to the dance, and she breaks a leg.
Yeah. Yes.
So she goes up there, and her leg re-breaks during the dance. And then they pull her off, and they kind of cut the dance off. And Susie's like, oh, man, are you good? And they're like, don't stop dancing. This is an ongoing thing. And then they go to dinner later, and Susie and Blanc are just staring at each other across the table.
Yeah.
And
the music,
everybody else
and it's like slow motion, and they're just like mind fucking each other pretty much.
Yeah, and everybody else is having a good time. And there's
can you feel
what's that? What did you say?
I said they were mind fucking each other, and then it reminded me of P. Diddy and Get Into the Greek. You know, when he's talking to Jonah Hill, he's like, I'm fucking your mind right now. Can you feel my mind? But I digress. Yes, I remember that. And actually, I think second only to Olga's destruction, I thought that the dance, the Volk dance that they do in that act is probably my second favorite scene.
Yeah, I really like it.
The choreography and the way they cut that, because like the lights are coming on and off, and the makeup, the wardrobe. I thought it was all really well done.
It was very cool, and the music was good too. And overall, in the movie, the music was very good. The score, which was done via Tom York from Radiohead.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have the CD. I still listen to a lot of the songs that are on there. I love the score.
Yeah, the score.
That was the reason that I got excited for the movie to begin with. When they very first announced that he was going to be doing the score, I was like, well, fuck, I gotta watch it. So that was the reason
Radiohead is my jam, dude. And I didn't know that until after I watched the movie, but I did like the score is one of my favorite things about the movie. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's pretty badass. That's pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, during
all the music and shit in there is really, really good. I mean, even on its own, outside of the movie.
I agree, man. I thought the music was it was fantastic, man, and with the dance scenes in particular as well. But anything not in the dance scene was also awesome. Any kind of weird music they were playing, it was fantastic. But this dance scene here was a highlight as well. Just kind of eerie, weird dance music. You know, I would go see it on a Saturday night. I don't know. I'd probably need a few beers and a shot of tequila, but I would go in there and I'd have a good time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Kidding me?
Yeah, I think that's something I'd be down. Maybe we need to go to Germany next summer. But I really like that. And then I do like the other stuff going on too with Sarah downstairs in the basement, freaking finding Patricia and all that. Just, it's kind of developing things farther on. Really liked it. What about also in this act, I can't remember if it's before or after the dance. I have it written after the dance. It might have happened before. I don't know though. But there's like a weird scene where Susie and Blanc are talking via telepathy. Yeah, they're just talking like in their head, and it's very random. It came out of nowhere, and they were just like, she's in bed, and then Blanc's in there, and they're just having a full conversation without talking. And I was like, I don't know, is she? What's going on here? I didn't know.
So after the dance, they had that scene where they're mind fucking each other, but they don't say anything during that part, right? But then later, when they're back in her room, they are just like, she's just like standing in the doorway, and they're just like they're shining, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought I didn't know what was going on. And kind of after, like, especially when my wife brought up the eye changing thing, like maybe this is the point where this is Dr. Santorium. No, Mrs. Mother. What's her
Mother's a
Mother Suspirium. Suspiriorium. Sorry, Suspiriorium. God, dude, these tongue twisters have me freaking tongued up.
Did you call her Mr. Spooky?
No, I think maybe that at that point is maybe she did become the mother at that point. I don't know. During the movie, I thought it just happened there at the end, but it makes sense, like because they're doing conversations in their heads. I don't know. I don't know what caused that, how that's a thing, or if that's just the witch thing. I don't know.
I thought that she was like Suspiriorium from the beginning. She was just like the whole movie was just her journey about figuring out who she was.
Yeah, maybe. I read some things on that as well, and I was like, maybe, but it's like, I don't know. I just feel like the whole thing, maybe. But I just kind of feel like that. I don't know. I think she was always, at least at the very least, she was ready, willing, and able to accept Mrs. Samborium, Suspirium.
Samson.
I knew it started with an S, though.
Here we go, man.
No, I at the very least she was ready, willing, and able to be that mother. But I don't know. I like the kind of the callbacks to the mother that they throw in there every once in a while. And that brings up another point that whenever there's a one callback, flashback rather, where the mother's dying, she's like, "Oh, my daughter was my only sin," like as in you freaking produced the birth of Dr. Santorium or Mother Suspiriorium, or out of wedlock, whatever. It's another point that my wife brought up here, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
Could have been something like Rosemary's Baby. Maybe her mom banged the devil.
It could be. I don't know.
Something like that, and.
But Dr. Santorium was a nice lady. I don't know. We'll get into that. So all this stuff happens in Act 5, and then Act 6 is pretty much the crazy. I don't even have any notes for this because I was like, what the hell is going on? It jumps into this freaking this ritual here.
It's funny because you look at it like in very short terms. It's basically just this chick shows up at a dance studio, and then all of a sudden these chicks are crazy. And then when you get to the end of it, it makes another left turn. Because even the ending of it, I was sitting there just like mouth agape. Like
I was too, man. I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, so it shows the first shot. It shows the first shot of there's some weird ass stages going on. All the girls are naked and they're dancing. I'm like, well, it looks like this party's getting started. And I think my wife missed this. I said, I think it's about to happen. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, and it just cuts back to it. And there's freaking naked girls dancing. There's freaking Elton John sitting over here with her shades on. It's like, what the hell is going on here? But after that, it's just pure chaos, ladies and gentlemen. Pure chaos. Again, no notes for it. So we're going in line. I was just like,
I definitely once she gets into that, and I can't really remember. Is it like excuse me? It's like an underground layer or something, right? An underground layer.
Yeah, there's some stairs. She walks down. She's wearing like the see-through robe.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to focus on anything else. She gets down there, and then you're thinking, man, DJ, she's got some perfect nipple placement. Stupendous tits. It is the second that you say that, and it kind of glance over, and then there's Mother Markos.
Yeah,
and and we all know, like you alluded to earlier, she basically looks like the chick in the bathtub, from the show. I'll say 2 of the longest breasts I think have ever been on film. They're like down to here. And
dude, okay, she does look like the Shining bathtub scene, but she looks like not the lady that was in there, but Elton John was put into the bathtub and he decomposed, and then he came out, shades still intact, but nothing else is good to go. And he's coming out ready to freaking go down that yellow brick road, and he's sagged out, and he's ready to party.
You said it, my friend. She is sagged out, dude. So, but I mean, it's very little dialogue in this part, right? I mean, she kind of just walks in, and Markos is like, "F you, bitch! This is my coven or whatever." And she's just like, "Hey, check this out. I'm Mother Suspiriorum." And then
Suspiriorum. Yeah, she walks in, and then she's like, "I'm ready to roll, dude. I don't need any convincing. I'm ready for this thing to happen. I'm here for the party. I'm here for the coven. I'm here to do the thing that needs to be done." And then Markos comes walking up there. She gets out of her chair. She walks up. She said, "Well, all the mothers need to die," is what she said. She doesn't talk quite like that, but I think it's more of a German accent than it is a Southern accent. She says, "All the mothers need to die, and they need to do it right now," or something like that. You need to forget about your mother, and then these mothers, as well, all mothers are gone. I am the mother. And then you see Death coming out, who is Suspiriorum, or whatever you say.
Yeah, she says, which mother initiated you or whatever, and she says, Suspiriorum, and she says, I am she, and then the screen goes red, and the fucking Death comes walking down the thing. I mean, I thought that was completely unexpected, but also totally badass.
It was. I like the red color. It pops red, and then whatever happens after that happens. Like, there's still dancing going on throughout this entire segment.
Yeah, I have to say, for everything that I liked about the movie, I did not like the camera work at the end of it. And like you alluded to, the CGI and all that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't either, man. I thought they really dropped
tapping these girls like on the shoulder. He's like, you're it. And then her head explodes, and he's like, you're it. And then her fucking head explodes.
Yeah,
so,
I know. They did so well throughout the whole movie with cinematography. Like, it was amazing stuff, man. And they get to this point, and they just, which is supposed to be the best, the best part of the movie. And it was batshit crazy, don't get me wrong. But it was like they turned the camera red, and which was kind of a cool little effect. But the way they kind of edited it all together, and the song that was playing was kind of weird. And the CGI really was a disaster. And then
that song is called Unmade at the very end right there. It's actually, if you listen to it on its own, it's a very good song, but it's very like, it's kind of a dark song. It's kind of melancholic or something.
Yeah.
It didn't really seem to fit like the song. If you listen to the song separately, you wouldn't say.
Well, I didn't have a problem with the song.
Watch a bunch of people get murdered with a red screen.
Yeah. It didn't. That's the problem I had. It didn't really fit with it.
Yeah.
No. Well, prior to all this batshit that's going on, freaking Markos, freaking kills. We suspect she kills Blanc. Yeah, with the thing, and she's sitting there. But
she transforms her into a rooster. Fuck, I missed that part of it.
Yeah. It was a cool little death. That part had some pretty decent effects, minus the blood. But then it gets crazy. And then, like you said, yes. Okay, first off, Suspiriorum or whatever, she comes up to Sarah, Olga, and Patricia, and they're like, she's like, okay, what do you guys want? And they're like, oh, I want to die. And she's like, okay, they die. It kind of gets rid of their pain, their suffering, all that they're going through right now. Cool stuff. And then she starts going around like, ready or not, dude. She goes around like, everybody who voted for Markos in the election just got freaking exploded. Their head came freaking blowing up or whatever there at the end. But they go in there, and the heads are exploding. She's like, okay, Markos, that's who I voted for. Boom. Okay, me too. Boom. All right. And all that's going on. It was kind of cool, minus the CGI. I don't know why. They did such a good job with practical effects all throughout the movie, with the hand, the freaking contortions, and all that stuff. And then they get to this epic climax, and they freaking drop the ball when it comes to effects, big time. That kind of sucked. But overall, it was a cool scene. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was so entranced, and there was freaking naked people everywhere. I was having a good time with it, and and then it turns red, and there's freaking blood, and then they come back the next day. Well, that we'll get in. What else? Is there anything else you want to say about this point here?
I don't think so, man. excuse me, I'm in agreement with you on that. I understand the scene, and I like what they were trying to do with it. I just thought that it seemed that, like you said, it was just a little strange the way they edited it together. There's the really like choppy camera work in there. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I know it's by design, but it didn't seem like it really fit with everything else. And it really does just kind of come out of nowhere, where you're just like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? And then it's like, what? You know,
Yeah, dude, it was really
fun.
weird.
I mean, the story, it fit the story, but it's I would have done it a little bit differently, but I liked it nonetheless.
I agree, man. I agree.
Probably the only thing in there that I would have done a little bit differently, but
okay, so yeah, so nothing else we have to say really about that crazy ending.
I don't think so, man. Like I said, I would have done it a little bit differently, but I enjoy it nonetheless. I think it's I mean, it's crazy. I think that's what they were going for, and unexpected. So I think they achieved on that level.
I agree, man. It was pretty cool. I liked. Okay, so then we get to the epilogue. Okay, so you get to the epilogue, which is kind of cool. And you have it's a pretty cool. I mean, it was neat. It was kind of cool. You kind of close all the loose ends. You have Susie goes back to. She's obviously now Dr. Santorium. No, Lady Mother. Mother Superiorium.
Lady Sandusky. I gave her $20 last Saturday.
She goes back out to to see the doctor, Dr. Klemperer, and she's all okay. Okay. He kind of tells her what happened, or she kind of tells him what happens with his wife and stuff. Which earlier the wife shows up. That's what draws Doctor back to the dance studio. She shows up. And she's like, "Oh yeah, look, I made it back. Let's go walk." And then it was all an illusion put on by the witches, right? Which, by the way, I'm sure you know this. The people may not. Most of them probably do, but we'll get into it. The person that plays the doctor's wife is Jessica Harper, who's the original protagonist of the original Suspiria movie, coming back for the cameo here. I guess you probably knew that already.
Yeah.
She comes back, as to do that nice little cameo there, which is kind of cool. But anyway, we get into that. It was a really cool scene because you thought this guy was going to lose his mind and he pretty much did, based on the earlier dialogue in the movie where like whoever the witness is going to they're going to lose their mind. They're not going to be worth a damn thing anymore. And he kind of stumbles out of there like he just left a freaking Applebee's at 1:30 in the middle of a Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like we've all been there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. He's walking out. His hair's all messed up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was a good night." But it was kind of like a walk of shame kind of thing, and he's walking back. He's got his little his suit on and everything. And
that one scene where he stops beside the tree, like to throw up 4 or 5 breadsticks and like 2 pitchers of beer.
He gets back up to the room. The maid or whatever is like, "Oh yeah," she could tell something's a little off with him. And then this is where Dr. God, why do I keep calling her Dr.
Lady Sandusky?
Mother Suspiriorium shows up. She's like, "Okay, your wife actually died via concentration camp. She got sucked in because she didn't have her papers, and she was, she died there in the cold during a census of, the population there." And then it was cool. It was a very cool scene, kind of wrapping that bow up, and then she makes him forget everything. Everything with the witches, all that stuff. He has this little seizure thing here, and then he's like, "Oh, he's all good to go," which I thought was cool. Because he was a very likable character, and it was a little depressing to see him get sucked into the chaos that ensued in the last act, where he's laying there, he's naked. I don't know why he had to be naked to witness the thing, but he was naked as well, and he's laying there like, and then
everybody's roostering all over the place in this fucking video.
He's laying there, dude, and he's naked, and I don't know. Speaking of which, did they put the face on a dude's body, or like how did they do that? Because I know the actor was
Tilda Swinton.
What's that?
They put a dick on Tilda Swinton.
Seriously, the rest of it was her?
No, I don't know, dude. I doubt it. I'm guessing.
I actually heard they did get a prosthetic penis for her, but I don't know because like the chest and everything. I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know. That's something I read when I was doing the research for the episode here today. But we'll see. Well, I don't. Either way, they go back. Cool scene. They go back to the freaking massacre of the night before. There's blood all over the floor, and it's like, what the heck? It was a cool shot where they're cleaning it up and stuff, and then there's the dancers in there warming up like nothing ever happened, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, was there anything else that happened there in that epilogue that you remember?
Not that I recall. I mean, I think that the whole point of it was just when she goes to visit Klimper, and she does like it kind of puts him at peace and lets him know what happened to his wife that he's obviously been looking for, which is almost kind of the emotional crux of the entire movie. And she takes his memories away or something there at the end and does something and seizure, kind of puts him at peace or whatever. Which I'm super glad that they decided to do that, because I'm trying to imagine the movie that if it would have just ended at the crazy part of it, and then like it cuts to the next day and they're just dancing or something, and you didn't have that emotional hit at the end of it. I think I would have almost not liked the movie or liked it a lot less. So I'm glad they had that little thing, that little emotional hit there at the end with him.
I think you're right. I think that's one of the more emotional parts of the whole movie is his character and what he kind of went through, which is kind of one of my negatives for the movie, which I'll get into here in a minute. We'll finish talking about this and kind of talk about that. But I think overall, I really liked that little epilogue there to kind of tie everything up and tie his character up and kind of get a little bit of a happy ending. I kind of like that for such a gloomy movie, such a dreadful movie. It was kind of nice. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much that's the movie, ladies and gentlemen. It ends there, and then we'll kind of get into what I was just saying. One of the negatives, I didn't think there was much of a connection with any of the characters in the movie. For a 2.5 hour movie, 2.5 hour movie, there wasn't much of a connection for that. I thought Dakota Johnson did a really good job, but her character in general, I wasn't really drawn to, just because she was just kind of there,
She's kind of blank the whole time.
She's just blank. She's there. I thought she did a great job with the dancing and what she had to do, she did very well with, but it wasn't really a character that I got connected with. So I didn't, at the end, when things kind of fall apart, I didn't really care per se. I knew the movie was kind of going there at least, and she wasn't really built up. I didn't have an emotional connection to her. The only person we really had an emotional connection with was the doctor, and even that was a little bit lackluster. I thought he had the most emotional parts of the movie with the end and some of the other stuff with his wife, but it was still kind of a side story per se. And I don't know for a because that's another thing. The movie was really long, 2.5 hours.
That was a qualm that I had with it. I felt like it is a little lengthy. I felt like there was some stuff that you definitely, for me, probably could have been left on the, cutting room floor. So,
yeah, I would have liked to use some of that time because the original is only an hour and a half ish. I would have liked to use some of that time to either build up the character of Susie a little bit more or even more towards the doctor, either one. But to have somebody to really kind of connect with. And I think the doctor was the closest thing you had to that. But he still was kind of, obviously Susie was the protagonist of the movie. So it was, it would have been
when I thought that she kind of, there for a little bit.
She was good. I liked her. I liked her quite a bit.
Patricia, and then it kind of shifts to Sarah, that kind of periphery character that you're kind of going along with.
Yeah, I think she did very well. I like Sarah quite a bit, and but yeah, that was the thing. Like for such a long movie to have no connections, that was the biggest negative for me. Everything else was fine. I thought, again, the cinematography, I absolutely loved it for the most part until the very end. The color palette they chose, the gray, the dark stuff, the muted colors, I really loved that, and the zoom shots they were doing and the weird stuff they were doing with kind of the old school stuff. That was really a throwback to the original movie, I think. Was really cool to see, and I was really into that, and I like the way everything kind of feels old school, like with the title cards and everything. Like it was really cool. I really liked it overall.
I dug all that. The music as well. I know we kind of touched on that already, but I thought the score was outstanding. So the score and the cinematography, I thought were both two really great qualities of it.
I agree.
I thought the story was cool. I just thought it kind of went into
The story was good. The story was very good. I thought the story was very well. I just think it would have been much better if you had a character to kind of follow that you cared a little bit more about. That way, when the ending happened, you would have had a little bit more of an emotional investment into it. But I think outside of that, I mean, the story outside from a wider view, looking at it, I mean, it's a cool story. It's a very cool story, and I really did enjoy it overall. Dakota Johnson spent 2 years preparing for this, learning ballet.
Yeah, she was really into this movie. She did a really great job. And that's another thing that really stood out. I guess which already mentioned the choreography and all the dance scenes and all that was really outstanding. I know we talked about the vault dance there at the end, which is really cool the way they shot and put that together. But I mean, all the chicks did a really great job with learning all the dances and all that shit. I thought.
I agree, man. It was good. Overall thoughts, man. Anything else you want to add? I know we kind of went through each act, but I know we kind of left some things off the table as well. So I didn't know if there was anything. Do you think Judi Dench should have been in the movie, or do you think they were pretty good?
She could have played Markos. I think she would have been perfectly cast for that.
I think we're gonna figure it out, dude. You throw Judi Dench as Markos.
Can you imagine? Listen though, can you imagine that if she did Blanc and then they also tapped her to do Klimper, her in man makeup? Never would have pulled that off.
I was gonna say we had it golden. We had it figured out, dude. We had freaking Tilda Swan in there as Blanc.
Yeah, and I'll say Tilda Swan did a very good job.
She did all three roles. I thought she did a very phenomenal job. Yes. Was it needed? Absolutely not. They could have casted these guys elsewhere. They could have had Elton John come in to do Markos. They could have had Judi Dench come in to do Markos. Either way, it would have been fine. But she did fine with even with Dr. Klimper. She could. It was a great performance. All things considered, with the makeup and everything else, the voice. I don't know. Was that her voice? It couldn't have been her voice, was it?
Yeah, it's her voice.
Okay, so she did the voice too.
That's why it's so low. I think that I don't think she could go, like, she couldn't register much higher than that, without it being
feminine,
without it being altered. Because Klimper, he's always kind of whispering, and like he's talking very low. I felt like for me,
yeah.
She may not be able to talk much louder than that.
Well, overall, I mean, she did do a good job. I mean, like I said, they could have done Judi Dench as Markos. They could have done her as Blanc, and they could have had freaking Max Vaughn come in to do the doctor character, and everything would have been fine and dandy. I think that would have done very well. But overall, man, yeah, I think it was good. Good performances all around.
Play Susie.
I would have really been curious as to what David Gordon Green could have done, though.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I mean, it was a different script whenever he was in. I think it was more of like
more geared towards a
remake than a reimagining. But it would have been. I think it would have been cool. It would have been fun to see Natalie Portman go back to the dancing stage again.
But yeah, I mean, overall, very solid movie. Is there anything else you want to say, or you all done?
No, I think I'm good, man. I like it a lot. Obviously, I've been pushing you to watch it for the better part of 2 years now.
Yes, he really has. And I finally did, and I had a good time with it. I will say, for as long as it is, it went by pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot. That's a couple of issues here and there, but it was definitely one of my I guess it came out and says later part of 2018. So I think the first time I saw it was actually the beginning of last year. So it was one of my favorite movies of last year, I think.
But yeah, what do you guys think about Suspiria? Let us know. The 2018 movie. I think we'll probably get in. I'll probably watch the original at some point because I was intrigued based on the research I've done. to watch that. But what do you guys think about the remake, guys? Just let us know down below. There's a comment box down there. If Brett were here, he would let you know exactly where it is, but he's not. Well, he is, but he's
in spirit up there. Look, he's had a great time this entire time.
He's had a really good time. He's been smiling the whole time, and right now he is telling you. There's a comment section down below. Let us know your thoughts on the Suspiria remake for 2018. We would love to know. We'll talk about it. I think it was good. Let's hear what you guys have to say. If you want to help us join, if you want to help us hunt for the good reels, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for the longer episodes, i.e. Beers with the Bros. And of course, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll have a good time together going forward. If you like horror movies, we talk a lot of horror, so be sure to check those out. We did a lot of good stuff in October, so go back and look at that stuff. And we got some other stuff coming out as well, non-horror related. And we will definitely see you guys soon for sure. Which was cool. The BrettMan is here. He's got damn bird as his icon. You can't tell because he's down in the waiting room, but it's amazing. So
I need to do one of these since Bird's not here. Yeah.
What I can do is this though. So I can go. What I can do is oh yeah, the zoom in, dog. Okay.
Let me try something real quick.
All right. Oh yeah, dude. Good shorts again. Hunting. Yeah.
Just hang on, dude. Let's see if this bad boy.
Which is this color. I thought about you. By the way, I thought about taking this shirt and cutting it around my nipples and just leaving my nipples covered up here. But I
would have been massively erect the entire show. It would have been. I would have been talking about it.
But I like this shirt. It's